Right. Meanwhile, Twitter going wild over this photograph, appearing to show an awkward hug betwixt Senator Marco Rubio and Ivanka Trump.
That's right. The two meeting at the Capitol yesterday to talk tax reform and parental leave.
Yeah, by the way, that's me at every family gathering. I don't know if I'm hugging or kissing. Hours after the photo began to make the rounds on social media, Marco Rubio tweeted this out, quote, "New photos emerging providing more insight into the alleged failed hug." And in brackets, faces blurred for security purposes.
That's right. Ivanka also got in on the joke, tweeting fake news. Marco is an excellent hugger. The excellent hugger joins us live from Capitol Hill right now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Congratulations. Finally, some good publicity.
Yeah, you know, this thing has been thoroughly investigated. We take it. It's important that people of Florida know that that their senator is capable of carrying out a greeting. And so, you know, based on my own recollection and the review of photographic evidence, it's clear that there was actually not a hug. It was kind of more of a traditional Cuban greeting that I've executed thousands of times. In fact, I'm board certified in it. So, but anyway.
Well, Senator Ivanka herself tweeted out as well. Anonymous sources say Marco Rubio planned the alleged failed hug. I have no comment, but I would have hugged him anyway.
Aww.
Yeah, well, I don't discuss classified information, but let me just say that the important thing is the meeting went off well.
Good.
And so we're going to, just as a precaution, we're going to do some practice greetings today in the office.
Exactly.
To make sure that we can avoid this in the
future. So, Senator, thanks for joining us this morning. Have a good day. I'm only kidding. We handle that.
Should we talk about Georgia and South Carolina?
So what do those two wins mean for the Republican Party in this special election?
Well, it's a positive thing, and ultimately, you know, keeping control of the House is important, and those are two important seats in that regard. There's a lot of hyperventilation going on, but one of the things we're constantly reminded is that there's this sort of political Washington bubble. You know, the people that are watching cable news all day, talking to each other on Twitter, and then there's like the rest of the world and the rest of the country. And the rest of the country doesn't get up in the morning and follow this on a minute-by-minute basis. And so sometimes I think that people think that because someone or something is unpopular among the chattering class within Washington and New York, that somehow applies in Georgia or in South Carolina or in many places in Florida. And it's just not true. And that disconnect was brought to light in the presidential race in 2016, and I think it's been brought to light again last night. Just because the conventional wisdom in Washington says something, increasingly conventional wisdom is wrong more often than it's right.
You know what they are talking about, the voters? They're talking about health care. Where does the Senate stand on this?
Well, look, there's the process for the starting point, and that's what is important for everyone to understand, is that this bill that they're working on, they're just crafting the first step. Now, in the Senate, I can just tell you, knowing the Senate, even in the Republican conference, members are going to want an opportunity to weigh in and make changes and adjustments. And every senator, as our Constitution says, they represent their state. And so I, for example, will look at it and say, okay, I most certainly want to get rid of Obamacare. How does this way of getting rid of Obamacare and replacing it, is it good for Florida? Does it treat us fairly? You know, Florida didn't expand Medicaid. We shouldn't be punished for doing the right thing. Right. So those are the kinds of things we want to look at. But there's a lot of confusion. Our healthcare system, Lamar Alexander says this well, has 5 components: Medicare, Medicaid, the VA, the employer insurance, where most people get their insurance, and the individual marketplace. This reform effort is largely focused on 2 of those 5, the individual market and Medicaid. That's what we're debating here.
Okay, now, the president says I'm confused because you said this is the first step, whereas I've been reading in the papers, you're going to vote on it next week. So if this is the first step and people start talking about it, there's not going to be a vote next week.
So again, I respect what the leadership is trying to do. I just think perhaps what they produce is something that everyone's in agreement with, and so you can move to a vote fairly quickly. But my sense of it is that there will still be some differences that need to be worked out. And here's what I want to tell everybody watching this at home. We want to get to this, and we want to do this as quickly as possible because it is having an impact on the markets in the sense that people want to know what the replacement is going to be. But we also have to do it right. Apart from the fact that it was based on a flawed ideology, one of the reasons why Obamacare failed is because they rushed it through and didn't fully understand it. The famous quote, remember, we need to pass it so we can see what's in it. We don't want to make the same mistake. So I think we need to do this right. I'm not talking about 6 months from now, but certainly sufficient time to understand all of its implications, because once this passes, it's going to be harder to get back and try to fix it.
Surely. Senator, you have one of the most level heads on both sides. You've been a lifesaver in terms of getting a fair and balanced look at what's happening we really appreciate you joining us this morning and handling
you.
the controversy up front and not ducking the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hugging.
Which controversy?
The hug.
Hugging.
The hug. I already told you that's been fully investigated, and I think it's.
So we handle it. So
All right, thank
now we
you,
got
guys.
health care. Good job. All right, so there we go. Senator
Thank you,
Marco
Senator.
Rubio says, guys, believe it or not, take your time. It might work out. Meanwhile,